too much on anyone's radar, and I was trying to find a way to, enhance my value while being a minority.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Between the Fields podcast. We are your hosts, Ramin Rahimi, and this is Dennis Boskert.
What's going on? Today, we are bringing to you guys FAU men's golf team out of Baltimore, Maryland. He was the team captain 2014-2015, commissioner's honor roll in academics, Mr. Morgan Hill.
Morgan, awesome.
I appreciate you guys. Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. Great to see you both. It's been a little while, but grateful for the time we have together. No, again, appreciate you setting this up and including, me in your process. Again, my name is Morgan Alexander Hill. I was born in just outside of Baltimore, Columbia, Maryland. Grew up in the city and on the outskirts for about 14, 15 years. Moved to a boarding school to play golf or get recruited, if you will, collegiately to the Hank Haney International Junior Golf Academy in South Carolina. Was there for about 2 years, and then, subsequently came to FAU to play men's golf. I did that for 4 years, and, love that experience, love that opportunity. It was great in terms of, personal and professional development. Subsequent to playing, went to grad school because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Was still grasping at the opportunity to go pro while, realizing my trajectory, post-college. So in grad school, discovered my affinity for, financial services and portfolio management, and then decided to just run with that full throttle. So it was a blessing to use, that opportunity to still, participate in my devotion and commitment with golf in a professional setting. So now I'm a, investment portfolio manager for Truist Bank, and, get to play golf with, prospective clients, existing clients, or, today, like a charity event. So again, I'm sorry I'm not able to be with you guys in person. But, it's the work is never ending. It's always a moving target when you're in somewhat of a sales and day-to-day capacity. So it's been great. So yeah, I've been doing this for 12 years now, in this role for 4 or coming up on 4 years in November. And it's been a blessing for sure.
Very cool.
Awesome, man. And we're just gonna kind of go back into this, rewind back over into your recruitment stage of selecting your college to play golf at, which is Florida Atlantic University. You said you went to an academy. Is that what kind of played the role in getting you recruited, or what? How was that academy like finding you opportunities to go to different colleges?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking. 2007, I was top 25 in my region. So within Baltimore County, Howard County, you had a bunch of private schools and public schools that had a little overlap. So I wasn't too much on anyone's radar, and I was trying to find a way to, enhance my value while being a minority. So I went to a summer camp in 2008 at Hank Haney's Golf Academy. At the time, he was working with Tiger Woods, so my parents were like, "It's probably the best opportunity for you to really resonate with someone that has the experience to, advise someone of that caliber and in your, shoes, if you will." So I did that. Came back to play high school golf, won my county championship, played second at regionals, and then got ranked, top 5 in the state. So I had offers from the Naval Academy, University of Maryland, Iowa State, and one other smaller school in New York. I think it was somewhere in Poughkeepsie or something. But I was, so set on going either SEC or some like a conference that had more talent in like a warmer climate. Because in my mind, if I wanted to go pro, a lot of those professionals either played golf in Palm Beach County or played, competitively at like UF or uh, Pepperdine, Stanford, like warmer climates. So I wanted to go, either SEC. Yeah, yeah, can't play all year round. So I was like, I gotta switch that up. So I came back to the academy, or they asked me to come back for a year. All I had to do was pay for like my entry fees for the tournaments. They covered like tuition and board and everything, which was a blessing. So through that process, I saw my coach Angelo Sands. We played at the World Golf Hall of Fame in St. Augustine. It was like one of the ending tournaments before we had like a tournament of champions. And he came up to me like on the 15th green and was like, "Have you got recruited yet? Do you have any offers?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I haven't signed a letter of intent or anything." He's like, "I want you to come down, see the campus, talk to like our AD and see if you like it." And then I want to say it was like early July. I came down, took a tour of the school, and you guys know Pablo Herboles Barilla. Like, he didn't have an offer from anyone up until that point, and I asked my coach at the time, I was like, "Hey, like, if I considered coming here, would you have any capacity to bring him on as like a 1-2?" We know someone coming into school. We both be in a good climate. We both could like hold each other accountable. And then he was like, "Yeah, I'll do whatever I got to do." So that was it for me.
Academy is you.
Yeah, so I met him at the academy. I want to say we got really close like the last 3 months, and we pushed each other competitively. Had a lot of banter and a lot of competitive juices, and that really created a good bond for us to push each other. And at the time, I was like, man, I need someone like that, collegiately, that's going to hold each other accountable, where we can really see the probability of success going pro in a real way. So I needed that and was comfortable, taking less money for it.
It's probably yeah, like you just said, more comfortable having somebody else going into a new, like, completely new environment with you. So it's nice to have, kind of that support system. And I just kind of want to ask too, I mean, did you, apart from your academy with the recruiting process, did you do anything else, or you were like, "Hey, I got this academy and they put me in front of a whole bunch of coaches"? Did you do anything else besides, or you really didn't need to because the academy kind of exposed you, gave you exposure for getting recruited?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking. I didn't really do too much other than that. Like, I played on the American Junior Golf Association network, which is like the largest golf association in the country. I didn't have like my best when I played at those events, just because it was so limited. They were really expensive to play in. The entry fees were like, $400 to $500, and accommodations were probably, north of that. So I didn't have a lot of the resources that other people had to play in those events. But overall, I just felt like I got enough exposure, going into my junior year to really just make a move. But I didn't really have the exposure that I wanted to have to give myself the confidence that I can go pro, because I knew like they were all dogs. They were all, a lot more, meticulous and structured with their practice, their, dedication, and, just overall work ethic. So I needed to just feel that to feel nourished and encouraged, transitioning into that role. So to answer the question directly, I didn't really do anything else besides, pursue that
Gotcha.
opportunity to come back.
So coming
For
into
sure.
FAU, Morgan, let's go. Once you committed with you and Pablo, did for the golf team, did they send you like a packet as far as strength training, or did they send any sort of like preseason workout type thing to prepare for
Not
coming in?
not to say anything about golf, right? It's a little bit different as far as the fitness
Yeah.
goes with soccer and golf. So yeah, I think we were kind of curious what that looked like.
Yeah, no, again, appreciate you asking. I felt like at the time, bro, to be honest, like golf was still like a soft sport. Like we didn't, to answer the question directly, we didn't get any packets on like strength training or like, any endurance or conditioning or, here's what we expect you to be able to, back squat, front squat, clean, deadlift, like none of that. So like, I had a little bit more of a different background in that regard as far as like, just taking care of your body. So, I have my own regimen, but I was very surprised that they, I wasn't greeted with, here's where we expect you to be in terms of, speed and agility or flexibility or anything like that. So that was definitely a discouragement. But once I got in there, and got to meet, all of our trainers. I don't know if you remember Jennifer Norton and like,
Yeah.
uh,
We came up with the lingo "bodies by Jen" in the men's team.
Bodies by Jen, yeah, bro. That was definitely the vibe. Who else, bro? Um, he was, I want to say is Italian guy. I want to say he trained in baseball and like a couple other teams, but they had great people that took their job really seriously to give us, that encouragement and just really that know-how to take your body to a new place. So that was good for sure.
Interesting, man. Yeah, we were just kind of curious, and I guess just to follow up on that, man. Tell us like one of your best experiences that you kind of had like with the golf portion of it, like maybe your first game, preseason.
It's called a match.
Oh,
Right.
excuse me, match. First match, like maybe like a moment that you remember like playing where you're like, man, I gotta hit this ball. I gotta make sure I don't know, make this play. So, was there anything like that that you remember, like your first experience doing?
Yeah. Again, appreciate you asking. I remember it was my sophomore year, and it was the first time we ever got on, UF schedule. So like anytime you got to play like an SEC team, you wanted to qualify for that. Like that was something you wanted to just at least see because for a fact one of them one of them guys are going to the pros. So like I wanted to qualify for the event, and I was within like 3 shots of a cushion against like the sixth guy. So let me just give you some context. We had like 11 guys on our team that the bottom 5 to 6 have to qualify every year. Top five, you're excluded from having to go through like a screening process, if you will. But once you got your squad, you got to qualify for every event every week. So you have like 4 to 5 qualifiers per week and got to be like in the best shape, just kind of like how you guys want to be in the best shape for, each game or et cetera. So we went through a long 2 weeks of qualifying, and I had a short-sided up and down I had to make, par for. And short-sided basically means like between the green or the hole and like your ball, there's like a limited amount of space to land and have the ball stop within close proximity of the cup. And it's one of the hardest shots to have when you have like Bermuda grass versus like bent grass. With Bermuda, it kind of grows like this versus like bent grass, it grows like, flat or like in a good direction, in the same direction, right? So like you never really know how the club's gonna like grab it or grab onto the ball once you, comb through the texture. So I remember that shot vividly, how I felt over it, being comfortable and prepared for the moment, all the, reflection and therapy I went into that day, being prepared for that shot. So that was something I took with, me through going up to TPC Sawgrass. We played TPC Sawgrass for their tournament, which was where they play the Players Championship and like a few other, high level tournaments professionally and collegiately. Got to see a number of great players, and then we had like Brooks Koepka come play our tournament. I wanted to qualify for that just to see like how raw he was. So was able to do that and play, 2 groups behind him. Got to play a group behind him the last day, so it was definitely a vibe. But definitely remember the feeling. I appreciate you asking for sure.
That's very cool. I know uh, a theme that I've noticed from interviewing other former athletes here is that they come in and they're always in their head getting into their sport, so they're not very confident coming in. So I guess from what you kind of said coming to FAU with Pablo, you guys both had that culture to push each other and make each other better, which definitely would help coming in because now at least you have someone to work off you and motivate you coming in, and especially being in a it's a team sport, but when you're actually playing, I guess it's more individual based. It's a lot of mental. You have to be in a very good mental headspace because any sort of doubt, self doubt, it might affect how you perform that day. So yeah, I can definitely see
Yeah, it's
kind
not
of
like
bringing that
there's
back.
no other team. It's just you. It's just you in that position. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that awareness and like coming in at the time we were Sun Belt, right? And I want to say we're like
Yeah,
American Conference now, but Sun Belt, like you knew what to expect, and like our coach was you know mid 60s, so I know like the amount of time and labor he was able to put into each player was going to be limited. So I needed to have someone that could hold me accountable, know where my, misses were, knew what I had, what I put in to get to the place that, we were at the time. And then, just try to extrapolate that forward was a blessing just to have an opportunity to have that, extra source of support.
and what did you do before like your matches, like to kind of keep your head right? Did you like listen to music? Did you have someone to talk to? Like, how'd you stay, I guess, like confident in your game to perform at the highest level when you were there?
Man, I appreciate you asking that. Growing up in Baltimore County and like Howard County, uh, I found a lot of different muses to really get myself in the right frame of mind. So there was a period of time in my adolescent years that I was isolated and just relied on music to like give me a sense of self confidence or pride in how I carried myself. So I found myself doing that a lot, like game day, like for within the hour I'm warming up or do stretching or whatever, like. I was listening to, Aubrey or, Young Thug, just like guys that got me in that mode that I relied on and like going to boarding school and being like isolated, like those experiences just gave me a sense to rely on like your self confidence and like music. So like that
Was
was
that
one thing I did.
Aubrey Drake?
Aubrey,
Gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
Drake, yeah, Drake.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, my bad, my bad. Yeah. But but yeah, and then besides that, like I had a therapist or a psychologist that I would speak to, once a week, just to create like a journal. So we did like journaling for like, 4 to 5 days and like or if it was 4 to 5 days before my tournament, I would reflect on the thoughts and emotions that I experienced during that time,
That's
find a
huge.
common theme, and then try to like take that theme through, the rest. So a lot of it was like resilience or perseverance or, any adjective that I felt was encompassing what I was experiencing at the time. Try to rely on that throughout my round, and then journal what, I learned from that experience or how I was able to apply it. And that was really, an encouraging process just to find continuity with like my emotions and, how I was able to perform.
That'll get you locked in on game day,
Yeah, I mean,
ready
I
to
wish
go.
we had something like that. If you don't have confidence, man, like forget it. You're gonna have bad performance. So, and sometimes you do get so much in your head with I guess with any sport really.
Yeah.
So,
But the difference is with soccer, you have like 90 minutes, you have multiple opportunities. In golf, you have what, however many
one shot.
holes you
Yeah.
got, and
Yeah, for sure. Um,
Yeah, it was limited.
Morgan, I got a question, man, because we've been talking about the golf side of it. I just want to kind of curious, just transitioning from golf over into academics and what you selected as your major, and kind of like did you know what you were gonna do after you graduated? Like, did you have a an idea of where you were gonna go, or did you feel like you were losing your identity as a golfer and
or even before that, did you know what you wanted to do coming into college?
that too?
Yeah, appreciate you asking. I had no idea what I wanted to do going in to college, but like, my father was a big influence just on how I perceived like male dominance. And he went uh, to school, you know, got locked up, came out, and like had one offer from Morgan State University, and he wanted to make the most of that opportunity. So like he did accounting. So I knew like College of Business was something that I had to do just based on like what he endured to get there and then see himself through. So like I knew it was going to be something in business, but I didn't know it was going to be like finance or like anything to that extent, right? So I took the opportunity to, go through, all those electives and like, accounting 101 or like intro to finance, marketing, et cetera. And then I came home from a workout and I think it was like right before you get to like the 60 credits where you gotta like,
Really
declare or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was at the crossroads of university in Volusia and I called him and I was like, hey, Dad, I'm about to declare if you had to go back and do it over again, what would you do, accounting or finance? And he was like, bro, honestly, like you know a lot with accounting. You can read a balance sheet, read an income statement, read a cash flow statement, give a company great advice. But if you know finance, like it will change the trajectory of your growth long term. Like that's something you can always, rely on in a so like I was like, say less, bro. Like I'm I'm gonna do, finance and run with that and see where it takes me. And then he was like having the golf or athletic aspect is gonna, also be a good, you know, buffer in that world. So I was like, all right, bet. So that's kind of what
Yeah.
got me on the saddle and then just never got off the horse,
No, that's awesome, man. And so you I guess you left you kind of decided that's going to be your major. You're graduating now. Did you like have anything set up for you afterward, or did you kind of have to go into like an entry level position?
Did you shadow any
Or
companies or like intern at any companies beforehand even?
Yeah, so I went to one of how your who was your academic counselor, or do you remember your academic counselor in
Yeah.
college?
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
I had
So like mine was it Vanessa left? I had Vanessa left.
no.
we had Lindsay
It
and
was,
Lindsay.
I guess somebody
Yeah.
else.
oh, Lindsay, yeah. See, Lindsay was A1. I wish I had Lindsay, yeah, because she was just like so much more aware. But the one piece of advice I got really good from my academic counselor was go to those like business uh roundtables. So I went to one of the roundtables in like the fall, and Northwestern was there, which they were pushing you to sell life insurance, sell like disability insurance,
Like a job expo.
variable annuities. You said what?
It was like a job expo, like that you went to. Like, does everyone's like got job opportunities, and you is that what kind of what you went to, or?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So like, but it was still kind of a weird thing to do to me at the time because of how it was encouraged by like the counselors because nobody really like held your foot to the fire so where going in who to talk to or how to like go about engaging in a conversation. Like it was just like, hey, like do it if you feel like it, but it's not an
Yeah.
essential thing to do. So like I wish that some like our counselors like took a little bit more pride in saying, okay, I know what your personality type is, I know what your
Yeah.
strengths are, I know who you need to talk to, and I'm going to set it up for you to talk to them. You're going to be like, that just would have been a lot better because I heard other schools do that with like their high performing athletes, like academically and like athletically. That makes all the sense in the world, right? So like, but to answer the question, I went to an expo, had a great interview with like Northwestern. I needed to pay for grad school, and it was a sales opportunity to like get me to do that. They gave me like a stipend of like $100 a week for the first year, and then they told you whatever you bring home in sales like that would pay for it. So like coming from like just us like coming from like DMV area, like I wanted that dog mentality to go out and like eat what you kill
Yeah.
type vibe. So like
Yeah, the
that really resonated with me. And having the skill set to do it and really grow and develop really encouraged me. So that was kind of what I did through grad school. It helped me pay for it and stay as optimistic as I possibly could while relinquishing the idea that I was going pro. Like I knew I was great junior and a good amateur, but not all great juniors or good amateurs make it professionally. So I needed to find that, or whatever I could at the time, encourage and propel me to, still be confident and, take initiative with, the professional endeavor that I was going to choose. So I found a lot of silver linings through that process and just put my foot on the gas.
Yeah, and I think we do, like, you're coming out of college, you have a lot of confidence, and you played a sport all 4 years. You were a student athlete, kind of coming into a new role, and you can't necessarily apply the same confidence that you had with golf into this new role. I mean, sure, things are going to help you, but yeah, it's a completely different field, so to speak. So, yeah, definitely a transitional period.
And finding that period at which, because a lot of college or athletes, their goal, or they're always looking to go pro and make it, make that big money. So identifying that point where you kind of switch your focus from your sport to the career you're going to land in is also huge. And having the mental fortitude to kind of not give up, because you can always keep playing casually for fun with friends, whatever, but kind of like give up that idea of going pro and
It
switching it into a
it,
professional
it's kind
mindset.
of tough to do, yeah, like letting that dream kind of go to, suppose one.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, bro. Like it's one of the hardest things, but like once you're able to do it and find the same value, it's kind of like a blessing in disguise. Cause like when I was able to like define what my purpose was, post, go, like really just write it down and edit it, refine it. I mean, it took a while, but once I was able to do that and then find the same intention with every day getting up and doing something or providing a service the way that I am now, it's like, all right, bro, like that's a blessing. Like I can do this, get compensated, to where I can just have a roof over my head, have all the essentials I need to make a good life. Like that's a blessing, and I'll take that and run with it. And so the wheels fall off and still try to surround myself with people that, I was able to develop with along the way. Like that's to me was more than enough for sure.
that's awesome, man. And I guess that we kind of just want to ask you some, kind of questions like what you pulled from your, your college experience and how you applied it into your professional career. Dennis, you want to start us off with the first
Oh,
question?
yeah, I can do that. I got it right here.
All right, okay.
All right.
So, how do you approach planning and executing projects with the same mindset as preparing for a big match?
Planning. Time management in my job now is probably the most essential. I mean, maybe in any business, but with my job, it's so critical because the market's open from 9:30 to 4, and historically, athletically, we had training from like 1 to 5. So like the duration of time that I have is a little bit longer, and finding pockets to do everything that I need to do is difficult because the scale is so much different now. But I'd say from a planning perspective, really just using, my reflection time at the end of my day and, proactive time at the beginning of my day to prioritize everything. So when I athletically, I would, structure, okay, I want to spend 80% of my time doing, short game, and I want to spend 10% of my time doing like driving and, distance control, and then the 10% with like, a thought process or like deductive reasoning or execution. So like now I'll do a similar process where I'll say, okay, I have, payrolls on Friday, I got initial claims on Thursday, and we got like a, you know, proposal from Trump on Tuesday, right? Or let's say the tariffs expire uh, at X date. Like these are the dates I gotta be mindful of, and how am I gonna prioritize, trading, client service, or like calls or client meetings, and then now how am I gonna prioritize like, just portfolio construction? Which assets are we gonna buy? Which assets are we gonna get rid of? Earnings reports for those companies. So like I'd say that's the one thing that I'm able to apply to like my job seamlessly that some people in my business or industry, they don't have that experience. Like they feel so overwhelmed with like all the shit they gotta do, and they have no idea how to like just prioritize or feel that sense of pressure. And I think we as athletes or prior athletes, collegiate athletes, like we have that sense of pressure and prioritization that make us feel, like on top of our shit or like in control of our destiny, and we're able to do it in a efficient and productive way. So I would say that's definitely the one thing I do is just manage my time in a way that I can create efficiencies and productivity while prioritizing things that I still want to do day to day.
Yeah, so you're coming into each day and you know exactly what you need to get done and what you got to be switched on from these hours to these hours, so you don't waste any time and you get things done in a timely manner and by priority.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, and sometimes it may change. Like not every day is gonna go exactly the way that I want it to, but like you both know, and we all as like high performing people, like we don't like to make excuses for anything. So the things we gotta do, like they're gonna get done, and I'm not taking any distractions or any calls or anything that's gonna deter me from getting that thing I need to get done for that hour or that 30 minutes, whatever. But every day has its challenges for sure.
Yeah, like having that mental mindset of like being pushed to like the absolute max, maybe from sports, is like you've been in that mental space that you can get things done and accomplish things in your professional job too. So
All right.
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah.
You got the next question?
Next question I want to ask. This is just off the dome because Morgan, you mentioned just being minority playing golf, right? So I just want to know how going through the academy to going into college, to now being in your professional career, um, kind of being the minority in that role of playing golf, do you feel like you like built strength up from that to be able to move into the financial or the finance sector of your professional career? Do you feel like that helped you or you gained confidence doing that?
Man, I really appreciate that question. I definitely found a sense of resilience going through that process. There are moments in time where you understand what preceded you and how that has an effect on the bias that you know corporations may you know impose on you as an individual, but uh, having that athletic experience to really be like, yo, whatever I put into this is exactly what I'm going to get out. And regardless of what I look like or anything, like my output is going to be quality. So like I found a lot of confinement and, optimism through that process to where it kind of like now I'm aware of it and people, may at the surface look at me differently when I walk in or have a preconceived notion when I walk into a room. But once I'm able to like, articulate or, present an idea to a large body organization, like I know it's a done deal. So I find a lot of confidence by having that experience. But there were periods where it was, discouraging, particularly as a junior, because like, you know, everybody has their preference for who gets what or what's supposed to happen, right? Like, particularly in golf, like I'm not supposed to be quote unquote successful at that's predominantly a different sport or have a different notion. So it was something that I struggled with as a junior, but once I got to the academy, where I appreciate your awareness, that really made me be more cognizant of what that trajectory could look like. Being around other, minorities. So I was the only, I was the only African American there, but there were like guys from Uruguay, guys from Chile, guys from Japan, that were also minorities, right? So hearing their stories, hearing their background, how they found, the optimism and encouragement that they did coming from where they came from, really helped me, find peace with, okay, not everyone's going to like you or not everyone's going to find, that sense of resilience in the same way. So you really got to, just lock in and define what your purpose is. So that was definitely something I was able to do post the academy. And once I got here, like I was just like, all right, how can I make myself the best at the best version of myself? You know, so I appreciate the question for sure.
Yeah, yeah, man. No, that's yeah. It just sounds like I don't know. You put a lot of hard work and you're pretty well spoken, so you kind of like
Appreciate that.
put your money where your mouth is, and
Yeah.
so I think that yeah, it definitely speaks for itself. So that's awesome, man.
Appreciate that, man.
Um,
For sure.
and then Dennis, you last question, or you
Bro, those are
wanna?
your last two questions. You got another one
Oh
coming
well,
up.
okay. So we want to
Yeah.
know. We want
Off
to
the
know.
dome, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I grabbed one question off the list.
Well,
so-
well, we wanted to know, Morgan, looking back at your college experience, where you're at now, what would you tell your former self going through the whole experience to where you are now? Is there any
Mm.
advice you would give your former self on just how to make it through that process, or something yeah, kind of how you would make it through the process?
Man, that's a tough one.
Yeah, like advice or tips, like something you struggled with up until right now, anything like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, man. What I would tell my younger self. So I'll be fully transparent with you on an experience that I found that was very informative. So after grad school, or like the day before I graduated grad school, I had a job offer from like a sell side investment firm that was really high pace and very demanding. And the compensation was like at the time more money than I had ever like fathomed me being able to come into out of college. But like in the grand scheme of it, like it wasn't a lot of money. But to me, like it was going to be able to put a roof over my head, have me independently, dependent on myself and emotionally stable. So I went into that experience, and within 13 months, I was out of that job. Right, for like two, I say like two months, I was unemployed and didn't really know where I was gonna like pivot towards, or what I was gonna, if I was gonna stay in financial services, or go to a different sell side investment firm, or what have you. And if I knew at the time that all of my experiences with like rejection, or finishing runner up, or like all of the times that I was restricted from having a growth opportunity was going to help me be as resilient as I am, I would have told myself, like, bro, just every single day, apply yourself in the best way that you can, make the most of every opportunity you can, because you never know what it's going to actually do to your psychological train of thought. Because in those moments, you need to have that like resilience psychologically and emotionally to still find optimism and a sense of purpose with every day. So like there were periods over those 60 days where I was like, bro, like, if everything I put up to this point was a fucking waste of time, like, I'm, I've lost my purpose, I've lost everything. But like, I increased my, faithful devotion to, God, and like worked out more, did things to stimulate my mind. And then I found another good opportunity where I made more money, had a bigger, like, fiduciary responsibility for an organization that wasn't as prominent, but still had the revenue to cover like my expense. So I was like grateful for it. I was able to, do that for, 4 years, and then find the opportunity that I have, today, where it's put me in a position of, more emotional stability, more productivity, more optimism. So it's just been a blessing. So have more patience, and just be appreciative of every setback that you have, athletically and academically, for sure.
Very cool. And
That's awesome.
what about to your future self? What advice would you give to your future self to like keep doing something a certain way, or
Yeah, Dennis, I appreciate the question. And I think we're all in that same parameter of development, or age. So like I'll be 34 in November. So like I feel like this is the time to just be a dog. Like bust your ass, work as hard as you can, be confident in yourself, and everything, whether it's successful or a setback, is going to be a learning experience. That's just how life is. So like I find myself to be like just so grateful and aware of that responsibility and the consequence of both those actions. And I'm just like embracing everything for what it is. You know what I mean? So like, I think my future self will be grateful for having this perspective and, not putting pressure on any outcome, just enjoying the process in which I'm able to like, endure every, adversity or success.
Awesome, awesome. That's very cool. Thank you, Morgan.
Appreciate the insight.
Absolutely, bro. Yeah.
The insight into your mind and what kind of
Yeah.
what went on there and everything like that, man. We this episode will be premiering or viewing on Tuesdays, 7 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
You can catch it on YouTube, Spotify. Follow us or subscribe to the YouTube channel to get notifications. Follow us on Instagram for any updates on, when we're posting, funny clips, reels, all that fun stuff. And yeah, that's Between the Fields podcast. Thanks, Morgan, for coming out and joining us today.
Thank you, Morgan. Appreciate you.
Appreciate y'all boys. Yeah, absolutely.